Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's November 17th. It's 9:05 p.m. And I just received this email, and you can't see it. Okay, let me hit this. The Windows 11 apps, Android apps, are now available with the Windows Insider Beta channel, if you're getting that, and I am signed up for that. And let's see here.
We certainly hear that there are things that we can do better and gaps that we need to close. We don't just want to stop there. We want to really push beyond closing gaps to delivering that delight across the board.
No matter what your abilities are, to be able to use Windows like everyone else.
So that's not what I thought it was going to be. So what do I need to do? I need to download let's see here. I need to go to, here we are. Let's see, Windows Insider. I'm in the beta. Okay, so let's see. I need to go back here and check for updates. Windows updates, let's see. Okay, I don't see that I have it yet, but it says it's in the beta channel. So it was Android apps. Okay, so let me close this. What the heck is this here? Okay, let me close this. Wait a minute. Let me close this and let's see, maybe let me go here, which you can't see again because let's see. Let me go here. So should it be in here? Let's see. Let's see. All apps. You know, I don't think that I have got it yet. I bet you it's going to come in later. What is today? No, it seems like I've been getting the upgrades about Thursday, and this is Wednesday. Now, there's probably some place I could go and get it, but I don't think I want to do. I think I just want to wait till it's sent out on the beta stream. Windows Tools, would that be it? No. Let's see, are you watching to see if I missed anything? Yeah, I don't think I've got it yet. So, trying to figure some way that I could check. And I don't know how. Well, let me cover the news since I'm here. I'm glad this Republican member of the House was censured. That's very rare for that to happen. What it is a majority of the, I'm not sure if it has to be a 2/3 or not, but anyway, a majority, I think it just has to be a majority of the House has to vote to censure. And in that case, they, it's sort of, well, they take away the. They might have the choice when they vote on it. Anyway, he no longer has any. Serves on will no longer serve on any more committees, which pretty much makes it impossible for him to get people to give him money to try to get certain things passed or to vote for him. Then the other thing is that he has to go down in front of the House and stand there while they read, what he did wrong and why he's being censored. Censored? No. Censured. Not censored. What he did was on, I forget what site, he took, I believe, I didn't look at it, but he took a game from the screen from a game where there's shooting and that type of stuff going on, and he put in his picture as the attacker, and then he put in the picture of the President of the United States and a Democratic female congresswoman from the House, and then showed his animation of him killing them. And he hasn't apologized, and he hasn't, he did take down the thing, but he hasn't apologized. If you've watched my past videos over the many years, and even before that, I've said, in the United States we have too many laws, but the laws that we have, that we should have, they're not enforced a lot of times. And, if you're not going to enforce the law, then don't have a damn law. But I don't know if you've been following this Rittenhouse thing where this 17-year-old got somebody, he wasn't old enough to buy a gun or to be carrying a gun, and he went out to protest and to counter other protesters that were out there, and he took an assault rifle with him, and he ended up shooting 3 people, killing 2. And the trial part's over except for the jury is deliberating. And I really didn't follow this case very much. But I watched a YouTuber who I forget the name of his site. If I remember the name of his site, if it pops up again, I'll put a link to it down below. But this guy who does a YouTube site was a felon who was, convicted and served quite a few years in prison. And now and during the time he was in prison, he studied and read just about everything on the law that he could find. And now he's he's not an attorney or a lawyer. I forget what they call him. Somebody who could work in the office, and he could, in a legal office, and do things for the attorneys, stuff like that. But anyway, but I watched his, I think it was made yesterday, I believe, video that he made where he watched all of this trial. And he gives his opinion, and now I agree with him. I really didn't know, but I agree with him. It kind of bugs me because what he's saying is that even though this Rittenhouse was 17 years old and stupid as could be, and just went out and put himself in a situation, walking around with an assault rifle or whatever. But I agree with him that it looks like that this Rittenhouse really was exercising his right to protect himself, even though anyway. If I can find the guys, because he explained it much, much better. But I agree with him too on the how he thinks the case is going to turn out and everything else. And very interesting guy. I hope I can run across. I've got to work up a list of, because I always do this, make a video, and then I can't remember where there's some information that I want to give and I can't remember it. Anyway, what else? I started to say it's funny, but it's not funny. Back when Coke was, well, I don't want to go into that whole thing, but man, this problem, problem with drugs, it just keeps moving on no matter what. And the addicts just end up switching to a different drug. And then, of course, the pharmaceutical companies, in fact, I think they've been fined, like $1 billion or billions of dollars just recently. I don't even think they've paid yet. But they knew that the drugs they were, recommending and sending out and pushing on doctors to prescribe, they knew that was being vastly, vastly abused, and they continued to encourage, doctors to prescribe those drugs. John Deere workers are ending a strike after 5 weeks. I hope they got whatever they were striking for. It says here, analyst. The headline is for the GOP, now all roads lead to Donald Trump. Then the next headline says, why Trump is a weaker 2024 candidate than you think. Oh, on that June 6th insurrection where American citizens, went into the halls of Congress, the guy that was pictured with the paint on his face or makeup on his face and carrying the spear with the American flag attached to it, and the guy that left a note on said it Pelosi's office and left a note for her and all that kind of stuff. And then immediately when he got arrested or whatever, he was calling on Donald Trump to President Trump at that time to pardon him immediately. But Donald Trump didn't, and he's been in the QAnon shaman has been in prison, in jail, and now he's been sentenced to 41 months. I think that's fair, although it should be like, well, I don't know if that's going to be, it should be that he should never be allowed to ever own any kind of a firearm. That would be more of a penalty to these kind of people than, X amount of time in prison. And then, of course, enforce it, have them on probation, have a probation officer where the probation officer is going to come by, and if they are at a shooting range or if they're in some place where there are guns, around, they would go, that if you want to hurt them, that's the way to hurt them. I worked with guys, that two men convicted of killing Malcolm X have been exonerated. My God, how long ago? Well, I got to see. Malcolm X was killed quite a while back. So how long were these people? They've had their convictions turned out. Okay, these two men were convicted of the 1965 assassination of Malcolm X. Are about to be exonerated after more than half a century, according to their lawyers. Wow. Yeah, it's one of the, there was evidence at the time that they were convicted, and law enforcement, and I guess the prosecuting attorney and everybody was knew about this information, which proved that these two men were innocent, and they went ahead and did not give this information, which they're required to do, to the defense side. Apparently, I haven't read this whole thing, but apparently that's what it, what's it. I mean, more than 50 years in prison, and they would have been found not, apparently not guilty. Just a money or something. 50 years in prison, over 50 years in prison. There isn't enough money that you could, they should be, given. But something should be done to the police officers, who are probably all passed away by now. To the police officers, everybody who knew, they should serve. We should have like a thing, make it half of what the other, if somebody innocent went to prison because of that, they should, I don't know how you wheel out justice in a situation like that. 50 years in prison. Whoops. Trying to get back to CNN. What's going on here? Here we are. I don't know any of these rappers. I don't think, Well, this hypersonic missile they're saying that China fired went all the way around the world and then launched something that hit a target. Let's see, this tiny toy allows your dog to call you. This tiny toy allows your dog to call you. Researchers working on a dog phone.
When you pick up the phone and say, hello, you don't expect this from the other side.
Hello, yes, this is Dog.
Cartoon becomes semi-reality as animal tech researchers at universities in Scotland and Finland experiment with dog phone. No, it doesn't look anything like a human phone.
It's a soft ball with a technology device on the inside of it.
Actually buried inside a tennis ball within the ball. When Ileana Hersky Douglas's dog, Zach, moved the ball, it triggered the nearby Dog Height laptop to ring. Zach's owner answered the call, and the two would end up face-to-face with audio and video if he didn't ignore her. During a 16-day experiment, Zach the lab called often.
It was about 5 times a day.
And when he didn't call,
he wouldn't ring me through the day, and I'd be thinking, oh, he usually rings me at this time.
Commercial companies like Pet Chats have tried combining remotely operated treat dispensers with a paw call that sends the owner a text alert. But no one really knows if pets are intentionally calling their owners.
Some days he would sort of lean on the ball, and then he would ring me from this, either with his butt or with his shoulder.
Maybe this is all just one big doggy butt dial. After all, dogs like to say hello from behind. Ginny Mose, CNN, New York.
Okay, I guess we will end on let me mention that in a couple months the lease is up here, and Social Security people, this starting in January, are getting, and I'm a Social Security person. I'm 80, by the way. We got a large cost of living increase of, usually we got nothing each year, or maybe a very small number. This year it was, because the cost of living went up, I think it's 6.1% increase. Huh. Oh, I see. I thought there was a bug on my screen over here, but it's the doorknob or something back there behind me. Anyway, so for me it's going to be about, I didn't figure it out exactly, someplace in the range of $70, $75, something like that, is how much I will get each month additional. Well, of course I expected this. The apartment complex that we live in, starting in February, the monthly rent, hang on a second, I have it written down here. I believe, if this is the notebook that it is in, yeah, our current rent is, okay. Our current rent is $945 a month. It's actually more than that. There's another $21 that is also on there. And then of course there's, a water bill and that type of stuff. But let's just say, The old rent that I'm paying now is $945 a month. The new rent is going to be $1,020 a month. That's an increase of, I think, $75 a month. That takes care of, that takes care of the cost of living increase that I'm getting. So, and of course, for people like that are my age, or people that are, the older, it's actually, the cost of living for the older people is actually higher. You have to buy things, and you buy different sorts of things, and, younger people or whatever, so the cost of living really is higher. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if I can find that link, I'll put it below, but thank you very much for watching.